So what happens when we're going to transition? There's a process, and it doesn't make any difference at all how someone is transitioning, whether that be through a long-term illness where there is an awareness of what the end looks like, whether it be an accident, so caught people by surprise, makes no difference at all. And even if someone transitions themselves, their soul is prepared, and it's prepared so the transition occurs seamlessly. This is documented by people in hospice all the time. There is such a strong thread of evidence around what occurs. So prior to someone transitioning, their soul is prepared, and it's prepared by energetic beings that they are familiar with on a soul level, not a human level, soul level. Sometimes it may have a correlation with someone that they knew that has already transitioned, so there is a comfortability about it, but most of the time it is at that higher aspect of being, those relationships. They're visited, often initially when they're asleep and they won't remember. And they're being made aware of what's coming. And you may have points of reference of stories like when someone has transitioned, oh, they had been meaning to do their will or finish a particular project, never got to it, and just did it. That's because they were prepared. They had this little nudge. They didn't know consciously that they were prepared, but they just got a nudge to get that done. And as they get closer to their transition date, these types of things occur more often. So the frequency is more, and the duration or the distance between these becomes less. They still don't know. They may have a few dreams that they think are weird, for sure. But it's the same type of thing where they're just getting an unconscious preparation. Then when it gets close, the frequency becomes really close. Now, for those that are transitioning and it's unexpected to them, they're human, so their consciousness and everyone around them, they may not be aware even when it's getting close, because these dreams and visits, and they're not really dreams, but these visits, they don't remember them on a conscious level, because that is going to cause concern. And it's about not making transition be easy. For those that are under some kind of hospice or healthcare, they may have experiences where they're remembering their dreams. So as it's getting closer, they're remembering their dreams. They're having dreams of people that have transitioned already and talk about them. When it's really close, they may then start to see them in their room if they're in hospice or a hospital. An awareness. This is also transition occurs smoothly. So we never cross alone, ever. Doesn't matter how it happens. We leave this nanoseconds before this expires. And the reason being is because the soul does not need additional trauma to heal. So if someone transitions and the body has a significant impact that we would associate with pain, the soul doesn't feel it. it doesn't experience it. Just almost think like it's like jumping out before. It may hover around and see exactly what happens. Yes, for without a doubt. But does it feel it? No. That's why it leaves the body. So it doesn't have the nerve endings and what gets stored as a result of that. So it witnesses it. It will witness all the things that occur in those moments, all the things that occur just before and after. And even if they're unconscious in a coma, dementia makes no difference. Everything is witnessed on a soul level and stored. So they don't feel any pain. They don't. They're greeted by people that they feel comfortable with. So it could be friends, family that have already transitioned. One or two, it's not a mass party at this point, but one or two come. So come on, come with me. You're going to like this. And they do. And when they get to the space that they are going, and we call it the other side, but it's not really the other side because that's linear thinking. It's a different space because they don't go anywhere. In a linear thinking, we think that they've gone somewhere, but they haven't gone anywhere. They're just changed. A friend of mine, after transitioning, came to me and said to me once, told me what it felt like. And I'm like, wow, that's awesome. He described that his constant feeling was a mix of immense joy that we actually don't have a point of reference for here and freedom. And he said, you don't. I said, what does that feel like, Shane? And he said, imagine a child rolling down a hill and the immense joy that they have as they tumble down the grass. A parent meeting their child for the first time and the joy a dog has for you when you come home, all together. And he said, and it's not even close. He said, that's what we feel. So that's what they feel. They remember all the other emotions, but the frequency that they hold is that. And when they cross, they go through what's called life review. And life review is where the stories come from when you hear of people talking about life flashing before their eyes. It's not exactly that, but I see the correlation. So life review is a process where you will experience everything that you created. Doesn't matter whether you impacted people's lives in a positive way or a negative way, whether it was something big or small. You get to experience exactly what the other person got to experience, the emotions that you created in them. So those that lived lives that had a significant impact on others, whether positive or negative, get to experience all that. And those that had an impact on someone in a smaller way, maybe they only had a small family, small community, they're still going to experience that. Those that hurt people with their words, actions, get to feel the hurt that they created. those that changed people's lives, made a profound difference, get to experience that on an individual basis. And through that process, they grow. They grow in awareness of what their life meant. What did they do what they were meant to do when they were here? We all have a purpose. We're all here on a journey, learning lessons and teaching them. It's not always fun. Doesn't matter what role you're in. But we've all agreed to do certain things. They're not necessarily activities, they're lessons. I want to learn this, experience this, understand this on that lesson basis. It's called soul contract. We all have them. Some of us tick everything off because we live big, and others might not. So, in the soul review process, and this life review process, I should say, that is also confirmed. Did you do everything that you agreed to do? Yes or no? And how well did you do it? Now, sometimes those things that you agreed to do was to teach a lesson to someone, and maybe that lesson was not fun for the person learning it. So, in that process of feeling what you created, you're going to experience what they experienced when you were teaching that lesson. Doesn't always mean that when you're experiencing bad emotions through the life review, it's like, oh gosh, I hurt that person, but I had to teach them that on a soul level. There's awareness. So through this process, the soul grows and understands and appreciates what their life was. So on that, think about your actions. Think about all the things that you do and say and reflect, even though you may not know what your soul agreed to when it came here. You may not have any idea. But how are you maneuvering through your soul contract? And how are you impacting people? And what will your life review be like? We all go through it. We all do it. There's no avoiding it. But there is definitely opportunities to make it different.